Haven't done this in a while.
No. So we're about to play, I guess, Thin Red Line, correct?
Thin Red Line.
All right. Let me see if you can put that needle on there.
There's so much more technique.
Oh, I knew you would get it right.
There we go.
You did it right. Where is
Wait
it?
for it.
Yeah. Waiting.
It's a bit quiet for a single.
Yeah. Yeah, remember that silence we decided to record at the beginning? There it is.
Ah.
Now, one of the first things I remember right off the bat is
That drum.
how you got all those samples in those days.
Yeah, so under the guitar line, you hear horses and you hear battle cries and you hear...
Now, today you would just go into a sample library and push a button, but...
Alan and I sat on the floor of the Jumbo Video in Newmarket.
After hours.
After hours, when the store was closed, I brought my emulator, sampling machine, and we went through war movies and lifted, take position! Well, some of them you did.
Right.
You die where you stand, that's your voice.
Yeah. I had, in the old pub, the Grey Goat, I think it was my previous band, Onyx, there was a big painting called Before the Dawn.
Yes, I remember that.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And I had written a song called Before the Dawn.
Yeah.
And that's where I got this idea of Kedikoy being the place where the soldiers gathered the night before the big battle, this battle.
Yeah.
And that song never quite cut it,
but it ties into Kedikoy, which is the band's company name, Thin Red Line,
right?
And Before the Dawn. It's all
one of the earliest songs we ever
from day one. This was,
and it survived.
Yeah, very rare.
Test.
As a matter of fact, when we were playing bars, I don't know if you'll remember this, you had to lie to the club owners about what song, because they'd look at your list and you have to be, like, they hated the word original, so it had to be top 40, which we played Police and Rush and Flock of Seagulls and whatever. And then, of course, we wanted to play our own music. So rather than make this moment in the show where you'd announce to the audience, and now we're going to play an original, we just used to segue.
Yeah.
And then Alan used to say to the audience, we're going to play a song called Thin Red. It's from a new band in England called Thin Red Line. Right. And we used to just go into it, and people go, wow, that's amazing. Where can I buy that? It's like, it's ours.
So if I'm not mistaken, Thin Red Line and You're What I Look For.
Yeah, they're originals, yeah.
I remember it'd be interesting to talk to Jim, but I remember Jim Valance being incredibly impressed with this song because it just had a whole different UK kind of flavour that Canadian bands weren't doing at the time. And if I'm not mistaken, so much so, Brian got a kick out of this song as well.
Into the Fire.
And so it carried a little bit of that
thread of that
thing.
I thought, remember when we first went to Vancouver to write with Jim, not this song, but we were going for that commercial hit. And after all the songs that Jim listened to from the band, he picked this one out. And I know it's not so much that it was a single, because he's a massive hit writer. It was something he said, I would never write that, ever, in a million years. And he just loved the song.
I always felt like this song kind of cost us our #1 in America, because we released Don't Forget Me When I'm Gone in Canada, and for some strange reason the Americans wanted to fire this up. And they did that, but all the border stations in America said, we're grabbing Don't Forget Me When I'm Gone.
They get spilled over.
It created that imbalance of sales, and we peaked at #2 with Don't Forget Me When I'm Gone. And I always think if they hadn't done it, if they just released Don't Forget Me When I'm Gone, it would have been a massive #1.
So, but it's still one of the most popular songs, like reaction-wise. When we play it live, you still look at people's faces singing along, and it's an unusual track, I think, because it's not a textbook kind of pop song that we're known for. Right. You know?
And the lyrics are interesting, and you know, people ask me what's a clay. It's spelled like Claymore, but it's actually Claymore.
Yeah.
And which is a big sword, and when we shot the video in England.
So the guy that shot the video for this, who's recently passed away within the last 2 years, Storm Thorgerson, who did all the Pink Floyd album covers, and he was a director, and we felt like we were on a movie set. Yeah. We had horses, we had reenactment soldiers, and we're just...
We had a woman lifting her skirt up and children running out.
Children running out, yeah. That's the Maid of the Mist, right? I always loved the visual. I thought they nailed that with your lyric, and that whole thing where she goes when the soldiers are fallen, she collects their souls, and the children go out and they collect the heather from the dead soldiers and they release them and let them free. I thought it was amazing.
And that's the Thin Red Line?
Yeah, great song. Haven't heard that in a while.
The harmony that I did, that sounded very much like the Everly Brothers.
I remember that, yeah.
And that was the moment when I went...
Derek reacted to that.
Yeah, something that...
Yeah,
that's the high harmony on it.
This is from Moving Pictures, as you know. We were at the studio in end of 1980, beginning of 81. We were there for about 3 or 4 months, which was typical for us making a record and mixing.